some cash. Searching trying to find my clothes. But I'm trying to find the smoke. But I'm trying to find myself. Brushing my teeth in the rearview mirror. Wiping up the wreckage when I can just accept that I'm never getting better. Even though I'm moving forward. Though I'm getting stale, I'm still moving at speed. When compared to the people around me. I know I'm no model of consistency. I've been sleeping in my car for what feels like weeks. Cigarette smoke dances by as cars pass me. Ghosts of headlights haunting my thoughts and dreams. Destroy my home with one false move. And I'm slowly running out of gas. Can't keep going on like this. Then I'll think to myself, why pick up the wreckage when I can just accept it, that I'm never getting better, even though I'm moving forward. Though I'm getting stale, I'm still moving at speed when compared to the people around me. Why pick up the wreckage when I can just accept it, that I'm never getting better, even though I'm moving forward. Though I'm getting stale, I'm still moving at speed when compared to the people around me.
Hello, welcome to Acute Mini Live. It's nice to be back. I have a great guest. Do I say tonight? Do I say this evening? Do I say I don't know what I say. It's kind of late afternoon. I can say that. I have Cam from Altamadum up in Thunder Bay, Ontario. I do want to thank. Gosh, who did I have on Friday? I always forget. I had somebody on Friday. I thank them for being on. I used to do that. I used to try to do that every show, like thank the previous guest, but then I would forget, and then I'd look stupid like I do right now. So I'm just gonna say heck with it. Thanks for being on. Yeah. No, it was Matthew from the FUs. That was an interesting show. We talked quite a bit about wieners on that show. I was telling you about the segment that we'll do later. So we had a great wiener conversation. It was interesting for sure. But Matthew was cool. Cam, it's nice to have you on the show. Thanks so much for being on. It's great to have you.
Awesome, Scott. Thank you. Yeah, no, we always love doing this. We've been fortunate to connect with people from all over the world, especially through the pandemic.
Oh yeah.
Have the conversation around music, and it's always a pleasure. So thank you for having me.
Sure. Yeah, it's I love doing the show. It's I started during the pandemic because we couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't go to shows anymore. I couldn't go play anywhere. Bands couldn't go play, and they were just kind of stuck without a connection with their fans. So I figured, hey, I'll be that guy. I'll be that guy to be. I'll be the connection. I'll be the connection. I don't know. What's okay? I don't know. We were talking a little bit ago about before we went live. About Canada, and I've had a couple artists from Canada, from Toronto and from Peterborough, and I've heard of Thunder Bay. I've never had anybody on from Thunder Bay, and I kind of know my viewers know that I do Google Earth like every evening. I'm just fascinated by Google Earth. It's just cool. I like things like that. I like looking around and people give me their address, and then I can see your front door, things like that. But no, so I did that a little bit with Thunder Bay. There's a lot of industry that I noticed, like a lot of like factories.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's probably not all of it, but tell me a little bit about Thunder Bay. Tell me about it. I don't know.
Sure. Yeah. Thunder Bay is an interesting place because we're small, but we're not super small. We're about 110,000 people, but we're pretty much isolated from everything. Because you have to drive 8 hours east or west to get to any kind of other city, right? We're not far from the border. We're about 45 minutes to get to the States. And we're right on the top of Lake Superior, or near it. So we're right on the, so that's the biggest body of water. Aside from that, we're one of the furthest places from either side of the ocean, east and west. So yeah, Thunder Bay, it gets super cold here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're technically considered northwestern Ontario, so which I think honestly kind of helps a little bit in terms of creativity because we are kind of isolated. So when you find other people that you can connect with and create music with, or any form of art, really, it really helps to become creative, right? And kind of that isolation too also plays a factor in, I think, creating the sound that we've created. So
now is if you know what how did Thunder Bay's name? Was there just a lot of like AC/DC thunder, and then you're on a bay, or I'm sure it's a lot more significant than that.
Well,
how did the name come up? Do you know?
It's divided into two. It was originally going to be called Lakehead because of where it is in relation to Lake Superior, but there's Port Arthur and Fort William, so it was divided. And I can't remember if it was the 60s or 70s that amalgamated into one city. And I'm not really sure. I know you can look it up, but
yeah. That's probably the best way to do it.
Yeah, the other one that was in contention, I think, was Lakehead. They were going to call it that, but I mean, Thunder Bay sounds pretty metal, right? So
that thunder, Thunder Bay. Yeah. So, at the beginning of shows, I'm always like, what's like the food is there a lot of you would think it'd be seafood because it's on a bay, but it's a lake, so it's not like it's on the ocean. So is the food culture is it pretty diverse, or is it a lot of is it like a lot of one thing like seafood or chicken or something?
No, it's actually there's a lot of young businesses, like whether it be young restaurants or clothing, or like there's a lot of entrepreneurial style businesses, especially actually closer to downtown Port Arthur or PA by the waterfront. But we're lucky because in the last maybe 10 years, we've gotten a lot of restaurants, and it's not necessarily trending one area or another. It's you got some of the higher end restaurants or some of the different local restaurants, and it's a bit of a melting pot of just different styles, which is really cool considering the size. So per capita, we have a lot of restaurants, so we're fortunate in that respect. But I don't think we have one specific style that leans over the
how about like tourism, like touristy? Is there touristy stuff to do there?
Yeah, there's a lot of wildlife. Like the Thunder Bay is a gorgeous city. Like there's Mount McKay, so it's not obviously as big as the Rockies or anything. It's a hill in comparison, but
there were the skiing where I think I saw some like a ski resort somewhere.
Yeah. So it's gorgeous for that.
Did I see a like a roller coaster going down a mountain? Did I see that in Thunder Bay somewhere? I saw that.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but we have a thing called Sleeping Giant. It's on Lake Superior. It looks like a giant, like a silhouette of a giant sleeping.
Oh,
yeah.
How did that come about? Was that like a legend, like a what do they call it, a local legend or something?
I don't think so. I think it just the silhouette of it looks like a giant kind of on its back. So if you go down to the waterfront, you look out on the lake, you can see it, and it's. I think that's honestly how it came about. Is it's just the visual of it, right? So.
Yeah,
it's cool because we have a lot of concerts that come through here, especially down by the waterfront, and we have a few different venues. So, and we're kind of right in the middle too. So if bands are touring across Canada, they kind of have to go through Thunder Bay.
Yeah.
So a lot of bands will make stops here, and we've been fortunate to play with a lot of those bands, right? And
awesome.
Whether it be the waterfront or whether it be the auditorium, or like there's a lot of different venues, like smaller venues as well, like clubs and stuff. So. So we're fortunate in that respect, I think, where we have a lot of cross traffic coming through Thunder Bay.
Right on. Tell me a little bit about Altamadum and when the band formed. Are you all friends? Did you meet through the band? Things like that.
Yeah. So my drummer Brendan Byers, actually, he was supposed to be here tonight, but he had a prior commitment, and he and we've been together since we were in grade 9 in high school. I saw him drumming on his math books in class, and one of the guys in the class told me you should really link up with Brendan. He's a phenomenal drummer, right? So he and I basically got together and we started playing in my parents' basement. How most great bands start, right? And,
or the garage.
Or the garage is big, right? So we were fortunate in that respect, and I used to look forward to him coming over and us really developing a sound. And it started with a lot of like artists that we both listened to, whether it be Priest or Maiden, like a lot of that English influenced metal music. Like we both
Yeah.
really aligned on that, in the 80s hair metal and all of those other things. Like we both really we aligned on that. So we ended up covering a lot of those bands, right? And through that process, we were able to actually craft our own original sound. And then James Cole, our bass player, came along just a year after, I think. And then Sam Muka, who's our singer, he and I write a lot of the,
Sambuca, that's his name.
close. It's close to that. Sam Muka.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, okay. Well,
Yeah, very close.
yeah, I think Sambuca is like a liquor, though, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
He should change it to that.
yeah, it could be a stage name.
Yeah, exactly. Sambuca.
So he came along like a little bit late, like in our late teens. And then we ended up really crafting our sound live. Like we played every weekend. We played before we could actually get into some of these bars and clubs. Like we were a staple, right? Or a staple in the local music scene. So, and then we were fortunate enough to come across actually it's our bass player's uncle, Russ Elder, in Thunder Sound Studio. So we were able to get into a studio, but prior to that, it was a lot of live and really, honing our craft live, which was good in hindsight, actually, because it allowed us to, not hide behind any kind of, of like we had to, it was either we were good or we weren't, right? We had to develop that sound together. So we built a really, really strong chemistry as four musicians. And, with the introduction of Russ and Thunder Sound Studio, we were able to then take it to the next level where we were able to hear back what we were doing. And then not only that, but I mean, having that opportunity, we're able to write albums together, but we were also able to get better as musicians, right? Like playing to a click track and all of these things that you don't.
It's too different. Yeah. I know.
Yeah. These things you don't consider, right? Until you actually get there. And it's like, now we're having to become disciplined musicians, where before we were just, very kind of, live band, right? So, but yeah, that's allowed us to just have opportunities that we never had before, right? Where now we were able to then share our music internationally.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
I listening to your stuff, I don't take this the wrong way, and I don't think I'm not meant to say it harmfully or anything, but I can't nail it down to a certain genre, which is a good thing, because you listen to country and that's what you're going to hear. Everybody's going to play country, especially like the superstar country. It all sounds the same to me. But and even like metalcore or just straight metal, I can't nail your stuff down to anything. It's like, what does this sound like? And Rob's listening to it. He's like, I got nothing. He listens to a lot of just like metal, but I listen to a lot of stuff. People on the show and just in general, I listen to jazz. I listen to classical sometimes. But like I just can't. What are your influences? As a band and individually. If you know some of their influences.
Sure. So first off, I absolutely love that, Scott. Like I love when we've had so many of these conversations and people either say we don't sound like anything else or we sound like it's never the same artist that they draw parallels to. So I grew up with my dad's album collection. So I grew up with like Led Zeppelin. I grew up with like Rush. I grew up with a lot of those classic 70s rock bands. And then we're all influenced by different artists though, right? Like Sam has a whole other slew of influences. Brendan's a little bit more into the heavier stuff. 80s hair metal is kind of where he started, but he listens to like a lot of newer metal bands and he's always kind of turning me on to that. And then James too. James was a little bit similar to myself in terms of like that classic rock kind of being the thing that catapulted us. Guns N' Roses was a big influence to Slash, and I listen to a bunch of different players, but I too listen to jazz, to blues, to classical, to alternative. Like I'm all over the map, right? And all over the timeline in terms of, the 60s right up to present day music. So I think that allows for a really creative melting pot of just different styles. And I think that's honestly what's allowed us to create this signature style, is that through developing that sound in our late teens, we then carried it on. And then all of the different music we listen to, we've somehow, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, we've infused it into our sound, and then it comes in, and then it is, it's turned into what it is now, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And here's another observation. When you sent me your bio and your pictures and things, you guys look like supermodels.
Thank you.
I mean, you got some buff there, and you guys are kind of like. I would show it on the screen. I don't want to embarrass you, but look up their picture and you'll see what I mean.
Awesome. No, I appreciate that.
I mean, I you know, I don't want
Yeah,
to
I
get
got you.
conversation, but you look like you should be in a magazine. You know, this is Ultimatum, and you know, all the guys are like, you know, I'm not making fun of that. That's, I mean, because look at me,
No, no, it's appreciated, brother. We appreciate that. It's
you know.
yeah. But it was interesting on the last album. That's the other thing, like to your question there. The last album was very different than anything before that, right? Where we didn't abandon the signature sound, but we did a lot of different like electronic
Yeah,
elements.
yeah,
But
I did.
that's Sam playing the piano. So so he's got this really, you know, elaborate piano at home. And during the pandemic, actually the last two albums were started, right? Because we were sending ideas back and forth, and then when we get into the studio, we'd start developing these ideas. And the one prior to that, Born in the Afterglow, was a little bit more avant-garde, kind of, you know, atmospheric. And then we did the antithesis of that, where we got into In My Blood, our last album in October of last year.
Wait, hold on. Antithesis. I've never heard that word before.
The opposite.
What is it?
The opposite.
Oh, that's what it means. The opposite.
Yeah.
Antithesis.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued by words, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't interrupt you, but I was like, wait a minute, I've never heard that one. Okay.
No, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did. I'm sure I had to look it up at some point too. So
yeah.
But yeah, no, we and that was a conscious decision too, right? Like when we wrote Born in the Afterglow, and then we wanted to shift gears, right? And so Sam was listening to a lot of dancey kind of stuff, I think, at the time, and he sent a lot of different ideas over. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we took that dance element and then put some like soaring guitars and Brendan's technical kind of double kicks and have that heaviness behind it, and then have Sam's kind of poppy melody over top. Like this would be something that was just different than anything we've ever heard. Right. But we wanted it to sound original. And I remember being in the studio, and one of the songs, Run From You, I remember us developing that. And I remember just laughing because it was just like so different, but it was so much fun to make. And it just sounded so out of left field that I was just, I was really intrigued about how people were going to react to the song when you release it. And that, I think, you obviously you can relate to that too, right?
Yeah.
When you put so much time and effort into something and you release it, it's like your baby. Right, so you want people to appreciate
but you still hear things that you could change, like can we go, but you can't go back. I mean, it took us forever to release Dream. Not forever, but it just, because every time I would hear it, Rob would send me the what he'd worked on, and I'm like, well, that shouldn't be right there, and this should be fixed. But I noticed I was constantly doing that, and after a while you just got to listen to the other people and be like, can they really hear that? Can everybody really hear that part that I can hear that needs change? And it's usually not. Like it's usually not that bad. It's just, recording is a chore.
It is.
And releasing something, it's just a chore because it's got to be. You want it to be perfect, but nothing's ever perfect. But I kept hearing these like things in the background, and like I'm like, do you not hear that? No, and like I was like, all right, it's fine. I just had to live with it because you have to. You'll never release anything if you don't just say, hey, it's not that noticeable, or it's not that bad. I don't know.
And that's evolution, though, too. Yeah, that's the way I always look at it too. Because like you said, like you can work on something until and never release it because it's never going to be good enough. You just have to get to a point where you're like, okay, this is as good as we can make it now. Let's release it. Let's move on, right? Let's move.
Always re-release. People do that all the time. Re-release it.
We're actually doing that. This year we're doing a 10-year anniversary of our first album that we did in Thunder Sound Studio called We Are. So we're doing like a little EP collection of reimagined, re-released 4 tracks.
So are you re-recording also? Are you going to redo it completely then? Nice.
Yes.
With lots of changes, or is it changes that you wanted to do before you released it the last time, like kind of like what we're talking about?
I think so. I mean, over the last 10 years, we've grown, I think, as artists, right? So we've added a lot. Like we keep the song integral, but we've added a lot of different like guitar melodies, for example. So it's different. And we didn't release the first album on any platform because we didn't actually get record label representation until the second album.
Nice.
And so that first one, and actually the second one, isn't really available on the streaming platforms. It wasn't until the third album. So it's an introduction to a lot of listeners that we've developed over the last 10 years,
It's a
it'll be like,
reimagining for them also.
yeah, it'll be new music for them. But for people locally who purchased the physical copy of the album, it'll be like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like they switched it up a little bit, but that,
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
Do you guys do physical copies now? I know a lot of bands. You know, we've thought about it, but you know, of course, we're not to that point yet. But I mean, do you since everything's online now?
Yeah.
Do you guys still take, you know, like CD merchandise or tapes? Some people do vinyls. You guys still do that stuff too?
We haven't since 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't, just because, like, to your point, there's not a huge demand. Like we
I even
thought
have a CD player in my truck.
I know. I was gonna
Like,
say, yeah,
I listen to this, you know.
yeah.
I mean, these are all like a lot of them are just collections, but like you know, these are people that I listen to on my computer, and I had to get a burner to put it on my Mac because there's not even CD drive. You know, there's no CD in my CD player in my truck or anything. I just don't have one anymore anywhere. You know, it's like what happened here? You know, but it's the way technology has evolved.
Yeah, it becomes the way exactly what you're saying, Scott, like a collector's item, right? Like if you
Yeah.
really like a band, you'll go out, you'll get that album.
You want to hold it. I want to
Yeah.
hold it. I actually bought one of those Crosley turntables.
Yeah.
Like I call them vinyl players. I know they're record players, but because you know I've been getting vinyls. Let's see, I don't have it up there. It's actually in the player. But this one band, Maintenance from Yonkers, they're doing this thing where they go to a studio and they record straight to a vinyl for whoever ordered the one. Like that's one song, and they can say whatever they want during the recording. Like to you, it's to you, and then you buy the vinyl and then they press it and send it to you. So I got one of those, and they haven't done it yet, but I ordered one, but I noticed I don't have anything to listen to it on, so I kind of had to go ahead and get that. So yeah.
Nice. That's awesome, though. That's the way to experience music.
Yeah.
I find is sit down and take
vintage.
the time. And, yeah.
You got to place the needle on the. Yeah, it's very. Let's listen to one of your songs now. Now we're gonna premiere one this evening, but we're gonna make you wait. I just think it's more exciting that way. You know, it's. I've done this a few times with bands, and I love doing it. I love being given the opportunity to premiere something for the bands. But let's not even talk about that one yet.
Sure.
Does anybody know what it is other than me?
We've teased it a little. Yeah, we've talked about it, that it's coming out April 28th. So we've released the artwork, but aside from our inner circle, we haven't. No one's heard it outside of our little circle, right?
But
so
me, I have.
But you have, yeah, you have, and whoever and all your listeners are about to hear it. So
yeah, and your listeners too. They're probably
true.
mostly you.
Yeah.
I might have one or two in there, but nobody's chatting. I watch the stream on my tablet while we do the show, and there's a live chat, but you have to hit subscribe. And I always tell people you can't unsubscribe when the show's over. That's not how this works. You have I have 348, and let's see, I saw 7 watching, but now there's 5 watching. So hit subscribe, chat along with the show, ask Cam some questions about Thunder Bay and other things. We'll talk about wieners in a little bit, but yeah, chat along if you want to chat along. If you want to unsubscribe, I don't really care. It's YouTube, it's analytics and crap, you know. So, but you're missing out. Let's see, Upon Yourself. Tell me a little bit about this song. What's the lyrics about? What's it about?
Well, yeah, this is the track 4, I think, on our last album, In My Blood, that was released in October of last year. And I think it's a really good representation of kind of what we were discussing earlier about the up-tempo dance rock, dance infused rock music. So we've gotten some really good feedback. Actually, we heard from somebody overseas that the song actually saved their life.
Really?
Yeah. So apparently, it's the music, and that's always amazing, like to hear, is that the music's resonating with somebody somewhere around the world that it's that powerful, right? So ever since we heard that, it was kind of like, it's hard to listen to that song and not, think about that. So, but it's a really hooky song. The whole album is kind of about relationships and some of the darker elements of relationships, whether it be with a significant other or whether, we have different relationships as we go through life. Right. So,
right. Yeah.
And it's, people pointing the blame on others or anything else. Right. I think that we kind of touched on that subject matter, but we did it in a way where it was dancey and up tempo and all of these things. So there's not really one ballad on the album. We have ballad elements within each song, this one included.
Right.
But it's just very driving and powerful. We wanted to keep it up tempo because we haven't really done that since the first album, probably. And even the first album had a ballad on it, right? So we wanted to have a really interesting up tempo dance rock album. And this song, I think, does a really good job of representing that body of work.
Awesome. Let's take a listen to it. It's Altamadum. The song's called "Upon Yourself" from the In My is it In My Blood?
In My Blood. Yeah.
In My Blood. From the In My Blood album, which you can get everywhere. Check it out. Great song.
Awesome.
That solo's badass. I love that solo.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Awesome. The drums on it too. Brendan, right?
Brendan, yeah.
Actually, I started following him last night. I was looking on some of his videos that he's posted. I guess he's a drum teacher also, And
Yeah.
I was watching him play some of your all stuff on some of the videos that he had. But the snare in that song is, I don't know if that's the electronic set, because I know he was playing a little bit of that in his videos. But I don't know if that was electronic snare or if that was his snare. But that snare, it's a different sound, and it fits. It fits with that with everything. You know.
Amazing. No, it's not electronic. No, that's just a part of his kit.
I do a little bit of drums myself. I probably need lessons, but like it's I wouldn't even know how to make a snare sound like that. You know, I have this thing where I can hear what it sounds like in my head, and my snare sounds nothing like it. You know, like the real tight, almost like piccolo, I guess, piccolo snare. But yeah, it sound that snare sound. That's what got me hooked on this song. It was like that snare sound. I was like that. I like that. You know, and it's driving, and it's not too much in the way of anything. It gets out of the way when it needs to, and it's cool. And then you got that solo with them. You know, I definitely can't do that. You know.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like a big part of that is Russ, like our producer. That typically at any time we start an album, Brendan and Russ, they sit down for hours. Yeah. And they, get the drum sound, right? And so that's very intentional in terms of, continuity, right? Because I think before you start an album, you want to make sure that you have that consistent sound throughout the album, and it's not disjointed somewhere along the line. Guitar's a little bit easier because we have that. I have that sound that's dialed in that Russ and I worked on together, but the drums, because the drums are all mic'd in the studio, right? Yeah. So you want to really sit, and they're usually the first thing to go down on the track too, right? We find the metronome, find the timing, and then Brendan, usually starts it off, right? And so that's very, very important because it's kind of like the foundation. So to put the building blocks on top of that, so that needs to be super, super tight and sound exactly how Brendan and Russ want it to sound. So
now Rob and Mike, they both get mad at me when I do this, because I did it before we released Dream. Like we tracked it, and then when I was listening to it before the vocals were even on it, it sounded like it was dragging, like it was just kind of boring because it was kind of slow, And so I was like, we need to tick up the tempo some, which means we're gonna have to retrack everything, for it to go together. Do you guys ever get to that point to where like, okay, that's the tempo that you wrote the song to, but it seems like it's dragging or it's going too fast, and then you have to kind of redo it. But do you ever find yourself like that? I've never asked anybody else that question, but I kind of like this new one that we're recording now is kind of like that. I'm like last night I said, Rob, this one's kind of dragging. Like he's like, no, it's not. Like because he knew what I was gonna say. He knew. He's like, it's fine. He said, trust me, it's fine. It's just the way you're hearing it, and that's probably what it is. But do you find yourself
all the time?
Yeah.
All the time. Yeah, I question that actually just with this EP that we're going to be releasing later. Like there's the intro it sounds to me like it's too fast.
Yeah.
But I know better than just to make judgments in the heat of the moment. So I'll take my USB from the studio and I'll listen to it in the car the next day with fresh ears. Right. I call it, the fresh ear test, right? Because you start to get immune to, you're starting to make all these changes, and it's like, okay, are we really doing anything positive after a while, right? You got to take a step away, listen to it. So typically that's like the telltale sign, right? Is it too fast? Does it need to be slowed down? I'm always in that kind of that headspace. And typically I do the same thing. If the other guys are like, no, it's okay. It's like, okay, I just need to adapt to this now. I just need to listen to it.
And I think that's what it is with this new one is, if it was any faster, it wouldn't sound right. Like I know that.
Sure. Yeah.
So I just got to get used to it,
Yeah.
The changes, all these changes.
So give it time, eh?
Before we do the premiere song, before we do that,
sure.
You're probably wondering why we need to talk about wieners on here, right?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
You didn't think this would be that kind of show.
No.
It's harmless. Mike, my roommate Mike, is he's a very good cook for one thing. He I think he was making shrimp when I walked in here to get set up for the show. But he makes phenomenal salad dressing. He makes really good food. So I'm fortunate for that. But he's got a crazy fetish for hot dogs. Like
okay.
Like it's extreme. It's an extreme hot dog addiction. So that's what the wiener segment is. It's I forgot to play this. Okay, this is my dad singing this little song. This is the intro to the segment.
I know a weenie man. He owns a weenie stand. He sells most anything from hot dogs on down. Someday I'll join his life and be his
weenie wife.
hot dog. I love that weenie man.
That's my mom and dad.
Nice. Nice.
I do that for every single show. But no, so basically, Mike will travel to try somebody's wiener. I mean, hot dog. Yeah, he will. I know it's not that funny anymore, but he would literally go places to try their hot dog. How do they do theirs? You know, he just loves them. I mean, we've had him for lunch, we've had him for dinner here. I mean, he makes good chili, yeah, but I just don't have that crazy. It's weird, but but so basically the question is, if you eat hot dogs, what toppings do you like on yours? And if Mike was to come to Thunder Bay, which if he told him a good place, I'm sure he would go there. But where would he go to get a good hot dog, if you know?
It's a great question. That's the one thing I don't think we really have.
Oh, everybody's got hot dogs.
Yeah, well, we do, but I don't know if we have a place that like serves them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, I can't think. We probably do. I just can't think of anything like that. But I don't know. I'd probably go with standard. Like, actually, no. Hold on. I'll retract that. We have a place called Coney Island. And it's like,
hot dog, yeah,
it's like Coney sauce. I don't know if that's well known, but it's basically like meat sauce,
yeah,
to some degree. It's got a very distinct flavor, and that's in West Fort, in Fort William and Thunder Bay. And so the typical toppings are this Coney sauce. So it's like this meat-based sauce with mustard and onions. That would be my go-to. I haven't had a hot dog in like forever, but
now you're gonna have to go out and get a hot dog tonight.
Yeah, maybe.
You like hot dogs? Like, a lot of people are just like, ugh. You know, I mean, it's just like it's like a junk food. You know what I mean?
I don't have I don't really. It's not one of those things that I go in pursuit of, I guess.
Yeah. It's not like pizza. It's not like pizza.
No. I like sushi. Like, that's like, that's something that I crave at every so often. Yeah.
Matthew from the FUs on Friday, he was talking about one of those like a sushi train restaurant where you like, it's right in front of you and you just pick out what you want, kind of like a buffet, I guess.
Yeah.
You know? But he was talking about sushi, and I just, but I'd asked him, Mike's in there on the couch, and he doesn't like to be on the camera. That's why he doesn't do this segment. But,
okay.
but he always jumps in the chat when he's watching, and he puts the emoji eyeballs. You know, the eyeballs go like that. So Mike's watching. But,
nice.
I'd asked him. I said, you know, the first time you had sushi, what did you think of it? You know, how old were you? He said he was about 9 years old, and it was gas station sushi. And I was like, well, that can't be good at all. He goes, no, it smelled horrible, but that's the first time he tried it. That was his first experience. Because I've had sushi before. I don't care for it. I just didn't. It wasn't one of those things where I was like, oh my god. And it was
sure.
It was a party it was a party and was catered, and like the guy that made the sushi lived in the house, but he was a chef, and it was good. It looked really good, and I tried it. It's something about. I'm not a fish eater really. I mean, like I don't go get a fish sandwich from like McDonald's. I just don't like fish that much, you know.
Okay, yeah, it's
one
of those things.
Yeah, I can eat shrimp all day. I mean, I like shrimp, but and like lobster and stuff. But I just don't. I don't get it. But people. I mean, we have it around here, like around in our town. You know, places you can go get sushi. You know, we got the Chinese buffet and the Japanese hibachi. Is it hibachi where they cook in front of you? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
We got those places and stuff, and people will get sushi there. I just don't. I don't know. It's not my thing. A lot of people like sushi, though. A lot of people do. You know, maybe I should try it again. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah. Maybe it's the spot too, right? Switch it up.
Mike says, "I love sushi" with 2 exclamation points.
Nice.
Why don't you come in here and say it? No, he won't do that. He came on the show one time for about 5 minutes, and
nice.
It was sometimes when I have a gap between shows, like if I do a show on Friday and I don't have another one until the following Friday, I'll do like a show on Wednesday, just a short one for like 30 minutes, just, you know, talking, because I miss doing the show. I miss doing it. You know, sometimes I don't have any guests and stuff, but I've been fortunate that these last I'm on another three show run this weekend. I have another show tomorrow, and I had one Friday, and of course you tonight. And then last week I had 3 in a row, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So sometimes I'm fortunate that, to do it like that. But I try not to do that because I don't want to get sick of it,
Sure.
And it's just and plus I run out of things to talk about. I can't be different for every show that consistently,
Yeah.
This is a tough job that I don't get paid to do. So, but it's fun. It's so much fun though to do this. I go to work during the day and then come home and be able to meet, fantastic bands. It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, so that's the Wiener segment. I don't have an outro jingle to the Wiener segment other than I could do this. There we go. Maybe I'll do something like that. So. Yeah, our hot dogs are kind of big around here in West Virginia as a whole, I guess. But our toppings are, you can actually walk into a hot dog shop and say, I'll have 2 with everything. And you get the same everything from every place. And everything is basically what you said, the coney dog. It's just chili, or some people call it sauce. Chili, raw diced onions, and mustard. That's what everything.
Yeah. That's really good. I like that. Yeah.
I like ketchup on mine with that stuff, and a lot of places say that that's sacrilege to get ketchup on it. But hey, I like ketchup. Damn it, what would ketchup ever do to you? Some people like just ketchup. Some people like it plain. I don't know. But I'm not. I don't have. I'm like you. I don't say. You know what? I feel like having a really good hot dog tonight.
Yeah.
No. If it's there, yeah. All right, I'll have one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the good way to put it.
I want steak, damn it, and like a freaking baked potato, and that's another thing with Mike. He doesn't make anything with sides. Like he'll make a steak or make some chicken or something. He will have no sides available. I'm like, there's green beans in there, there's potatoes. I was like, make something for this. I gotta have something with it. You can't just. I don't know. Do you like sides with your meal? I mean, everybody does, really. So you're normal. Good.
Yeah. I think so. I think in that, yeah, I like food, period. So
before we do the premiere,
okay.
I don't have a drum roll thing, but before we do the premiere, sometimes I like to ask this. Sometimes people like to answer. Sometimes people don't. But what do you do for a job like during the day? Do you just exclusively be a rock star and just the Altamadum is it, and this is your job, and you're making a lot of money doing this? Or
I don't think artists are at all doing that.
Yeah,
nowadays, just because of that. I had a good chat with my producer last night about this exact topic, right? It's just the way the industry is right now, right? And the oversaturation of the market and everything else. And unless you're willing to sell your home and live on the road,
right? Yeah.
I don't think any artist is making a lot of money,
right?
Just specifically on streams, for example, right? No album is going gold anymore. So we're fortunate enough, we've done about 76 or 77 different press items last year, like interviews like this. So my drummer and I typically will tag team that. Sometimes James will come in. So we've been fortunate enough to have conversations with people over the globe, and that, that's huge, right? But in terms of my, I have many different careers that I'm kind of embarking on. I work for a large telecommunications industry in Canada.
Nice.
So we're doing, that's kind of a big focus. And then I'm working for another organization on top of that. And there's a lot, typically very, very busy, but I like that, right? So that's why it's nice kind of doing these interviews on the weekend, because it allows for a little bit of a lull to be able to actually have these conversations and focus in on what it is that, we're doing. So aside from that,
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I love learning about, like I said, well, we talked about, I love learning about different areas of the world, and that this gives me an outlet to do that, even though it's a music show for the most part. I get to, what do you eat there? Do you eat the same kind of crap that I do? And the kind of the wiener segment kind of, I guess it brings people together. Hot dogs bring people together, or wieners do, I guess. I don't know. It's stupid. Let's do the premiere. Are you ready to do it?
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm doing this, but
yeah, absolutely.
It's the premiere. I don't know. Okay.
This one's.
I'm going to give this to you. I'm going to let you do the whole introduction and everything.
Sure. This where I'm excited to actually premiere this, because this is entirely different than anything we've ever done before, where we have a featured singer that's not just for a segment of a song, it's for the whole song. So it's actually my partner, actually, Desiree. So she's got a really, really good voice. And we were talking about doing this, I don't know, a couple of years ago. We were talking about, doing a cover of a song, and I knew that if we ever did that, I would want to record it. And I knew that it would, we'd be putting time and attention. And so we both arrived on this Tears for Fears song, Mad World. And I thought that if we take something from the 80s new wave era and we throw our Ultimatum spin on it with a female vocalist, Desiree, that it would be really, really cool. So she's, like I said, she's got a good voice. And I think this is going to be a good kind of, starting pad or launching pad for her to then expand and obviously come to the studio whenever she wants and continue to work together and maybe write, other songs. Right. But this is really cool because it's a well-known song. Where we now have the ability to share that internationally. So I'm really, really looking forward to hearing what people have to say. And we wanted to use your show, Scott, to premiere that. Yeah. So, and then it's going to be launched on all platforms on April 28th. So not this Friday, but the upcoming Friday, April 28th, it'll be available on Spotify, Apple Music, everywhere, right? So we're really excited for people to hear it and see how people react, right? It's kind of the first follow-up from In My Blood. So to do it as a cover song with a featured artist, I think it's going to be really cool to see kind of where it goes.
Now kind of a little bit of what we were talking about, like with recording and stuff. Is this song ready to go? Is it in your mind, just in your mind?
It's interesting. I was having that conversation with Desiree actually, because it's her first time actually recording in a studio, right? So I gave her the same kind of pep talk I give Sam, our singer, and I tell it's, you have to get it to a point where you're okay with what it is, and you release it, right? And come what it may, right? People are going to love it. Some people won't. That's the thing about art or music. It's subjective, right? And people form their own opinion around things. So me personally, I know my formula, right? After doing this for years and years and years, that it's at a place now where if I listen to it anymore, it's going to be counterproductive. I'm going to overthink things. I need to get it. We need to get it out, and we need to get it circulated all over the globe, and get it on different radio stations, magazines, and stuff. Because I think that this one's going to do, get a lot of additional attention, I think, around us as well. So
did you have to get express permission from Tears for Fears to do this, or how does that? work?
No, we don't. Honestly, I don't know how that works. I know that we looked it up, and we didn't really see any snags. And I know we know a lot of other artists that do this, right, regularly, where they do a cover, but then they pay homage to that artist, right? Yeah. So I don't foresee any issues in that respect, but it'll be interesting too, because at some point in time we might even play it live. Who knows, right? So it's cool. And James did the artwork, our bass player. So when it's actually released, and you can check it out on our Instagram too. We're going to be teasing it over the next couple of weeks when it finally launches on all platforms everywhere. So the artwork's really, really cool. It almost looks like an eclipse or something. It's very spacey. Yeah.
Now, do you want me to play the whole song?
I would love if you did that. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Because some people will send me the whole song and say just play a little bit of it. So
sure. No, you might as well play the whole song, Scott. Yeah.
I mean, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you love this, if you want to, they could just screen record it or something. I don't even if they want to have it now.
Yeah, or wait 2 weeks and
just wait 2 weeks.
Or watch this show back and then wait until
watch it over and over again. Over and over again. Hit subscribe. Hit subscribe, share with your friends. Okay, here we go. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Tears for Fears cover of Mad World by Altamadum featuring Desiree.
Yep.
Here it is. World premiere.
All around me are familiar faces, worn out places, worn out faces, bright and early for their daily races, going nowhere, going nowhere. Their tears are filling up their glasses, no expression, no expression. Hide my head, I wanna drown my sorrow. No tomorrow, no tomorrow. And I find it kind of funny, I find sit and listen, sit and listen. I went to school and I was very nervous. No one knew me, no one knew me. Hello teacher, tell me what's my lesson. Look right through me, look right through me. And I find it kind of funny, I find it kind of sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you, 'cause I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad world. Mad world. Mad world. And I find it kind of funny, I find it kind of sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you, 'cause I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad world. Mad world. Mad world.
Yeah, that's gonna be well received.
Awesome.
Well received. Yeah, when I get to listen to music, usually it's on either in my truck or in here on a speaker. When you hear it in cans, it just enlightens it. Is that the right word? Enlightens or enhances? I don't know.
Yeah.
You hear everything. You hear everything in it.
Yeah.
Very good stuff.
Awesome. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Yeah. No, I like was interested to see how, you would react to it because, it's interesting when you release something new, right? It's
Yeah.
one of those things, right? Where it's kind of like if you only have the people who are in your inner circle to
Right.
bounce it off of before you release it, right? And I know we have a critical inner circle, right? So that's good. That works in our favor, but yeah.
The guitar in the background, I mean, it's just back there, but it needs to be back there. It's like
Yeah.
because I didn't catch that when I was listening to it on the speaker, but like I said, you can hear everything, and it's like you hear it in the background. And it's like you expect it every time. It's great. It's terrific, and then in with the lead guitar, and I love that stuff.
Awesome. Awesome. Very, very cool.
That's my reaction. If it means
Nice. Awesome. Awesome.
Let's see. The playing us out of the show tonight. The show's not quite over, but is a band called Railgun that I found on your all's Instagram that you played a show with them. Railgun and the Fixer also, and it seems to they. I don't know how to explain. They kind of fall in the genre of like the older metal also, but it's tight and it's loud and screamy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know what you'd qualify them as, like metalcore. Probably. I don't know if that's offensive. I don't mean it to be, but
No, I mean,
like,
you were talking about the music culture in Thunder Bay, and it seems like you guys kind of have your own style. Ultimatum has your own thing that doesn't really fall into it. From what I've heard of Railgun and the Fixer, they have elements of stuff, but it's their own. Like the two of them don't even sound alike at all.
No.
It's
No.
the same style ish, but it's not. So that's a good thing. I need to listen to more freaking Thunder Bay stuff. Sounds like.
yeah. Well, it's heavily underrated, right? Like that's the reality of it is there's so much talent in this city, right?
Yeah.
Like it's insane, right? And that's the beautiful part about it too, is that there's a lot of individuality with artists here. because it's almost like we're forced to some degree, right? Like we're just based on where we're located, we're forced to kind of have that unique niche in our sound, or else you sound like some like. That's why I love when you said like you don't sound like anyone else, because I don't want to. Because if I want, if we sounded like AC/DC, I would rather listen to AC/DC, right? Because like you're gonna go back to the origin of what that sound is, right? You're not gonna listen to the, or it's not gonna last, right? It's a good gimmick, like it's a good gimmick, but our goal is to be artists first and foremost, and we want to create art that hasn't been created yet, right? We want to bring something to the table versus just profit or take away, right, from the industry or the scene, right? So
right, exactly. Well, I want to feature more Thunder Bass. So if you tell Railgun come on the show, tell the Fixer. You said you're gonna be playing with him again soon.
We're playing with them actually the same date that all the Mad World featuring Desiree releases. We're actually playing a show that same day. So we'll be seeing the Fixer. So I'll extend that, and I
love that. And anybody else up that way that even if they're individual artists, even if they're magicians, I've had a magician on here twice. So
yeah, we have magicians too. So,
yeah,
all that stuff.
Anybody in creative arts, like I try to expand the show. Not all the time because it's mainly music, but I like to anybody. If you write poems, damn it, come on the show. I don't know what we talk about, but write me a wiener poem.
Yeah, music is just like poetry, anyways. Really, with melody behind it, right? So
yeah. Do you guys have I haven't even seen them up here anymore, but they used to have these things up here called poetry slams, where it's like an open mic for poetry.
Yeah.
Do you guys have those there up the?
I want to say we do. Because Thunder Bay is a very, like, the other thing about Thunder Bay is it's a very kind of hipstery environment, right? Where we have a lot of like art, and I don't mean that in any disrespectful way. Like it's very artsy, right? So we'll have some of the we have like cafes, like local cafes that have like little different games nights or whatever, right? So I personally haven't been to one locally, but I would imagine that there is that here as well. So it's a booming art scene. Like Thunder Bay is a booming arts.
It sounds like a place I'd like to go visit.
It is. It's cool. It really is cool here. Yeah, I can't.
Does it ever get warm? Does it ever get warm though? I like warmer weather.
We have the biggest shift in weather where it gets like it can be minus 40 and then it shifts to like plus 40, right? Like we have such a weird you
guys use Celsius though, right? Not Fahrenheit.
That's right.
Yeah. See,
I should have said yeah.
Yeah, dummy Americans, we don't know the conversion or I don't.
Well, basically this way, it's an 80-degree Celsius shift in weather from the summer to the winter. So
minus 40 is really not that bad.
No, it's bad. It's bad. I don't know what the conversion is, but it's it's brutal.
Here on this year on Christmas Day, it was probably the coldest Christmas I ever remember. But it was 0. My truck actually said 0, and I know we have the wind chill factor, which is what the feels like temperature. I guess I don't know if they do that, but it was actually 0 degrees, and so in reality it was probably about minus 15, and that's Fahrenheit, and that was brutally cold. But I mean, like I think today it's like 75 or something Fahrenheit, so that would be like I'd have to look it up. I don't freaking know. This is not a math show.
Yeah. I have to look at
it. But yeah, it sounds funny because when you guys say, it's 30 is not that bad. Yes, it is. It's freaking cold.
It is. It
30 is. I don't know what 30 would be in Celsius. I kind of want to look it up now because it's in. I don't know. Let me see. Let me see real quick.
We have to plug our cars in here for them to start in the morning. So.
You said 45, right? 45 Celsius, right? We'll just go with that with a there we go. 45 Celsius. 45 Celsius would be 113 degrees Fahrenheit. Is that about right? You think?
I guess so.
Yeah, it says
sounds extreme, but
it does sound extreme. I don't think it's ever been 113. Well, it's probably
in the winter we get minus 40 degrees Celsius.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
With wind chill. With wind chill as well.
Yeah, minus 40. That's what threw me off. That would be. That still doesn't sound right. Yeah, well, that'd be minus 49. Something's wrong here with this conversion.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's go to this. Googly is being googly right now. Okay, minus 40. Calculate. Now it's saying the answer is minus 40 Celsius equals minus 40 Fahrenheit. That can't be right because okay, I don't know. I
Okay.
give it up. It's a music show, and anybody in the chat? Mike? Okay, he's probably eating sushi somewhere. I don't know. Or a hot dog. No, he's eating a hot dog, I bet. He's probably got hot. You know how like kids will have like candy under their mattress. Mike has hot dogs.
Yeah.
Ready to be cooked. I don't know. Cam, thanks so much for being on the show. It's been fun talking about the weird things we talked about. Mainly me talking about weird things.
All good.
Learning about Thunder Bay has been nice. I would love to have you back on. Bring the rest of the guys with you when you have time or when they have time. I know.
Yeah, we'll have to do it
life
again.
must go on. Life must go on. People must live their lives, and that's exactly what I want you to do. Keep making music. Do some more covers. Are you going to do any more covers?
Potentially, we might do more. Like I said, I don't want to get too far into it, but we might it might be nice to work with Desert
You're
A.
like a secret one. Like don't even tell me. Don't tell anybody. Just kind of here it is.
Yeah.
Something out of the blue. Just whatever. Like Metallica.
We're one of those bands. We don't do a lot of aside from in our early days, playing live. We don't do a lot of covers. We've never really released a cover song, so that's another first, right? Aside from having a guest vocalist and all these other things. Yeah, it's a lot of firsts on this one, so it's not out of the realm of possibility in the future. I like doing covers.
Tears for Fears is a different cover though. Not a lot of people say, oh yeah, we're you go to a club where the band plays all covers, like a cover band on the weekends at a bar.
Yeah.
Nobody ever plays Tears for Fears. You just don't
No.
hear that.
No.
I love it, though.
Yeah, and when we're covering songs, it's important that we almost reimagine them in our own style, right? So take a song that's super, super light, make it super, super heavy or whatever, right? I like artists that do that, right? A lot of metalcore bands do that. They'll take a pop song and they'll just make it heavy. And that's cool, right?
What was it? There's a few, In the Air Tonight was one, a band did that, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't think of it right now. There's a guy on YouTube, I can't remember I think the channel's called There I Ruined It. And he'll take just normal songs and turn them into he took a Disturbed song, or was it Disturbed or whoever sings Let the Bodies Hit the Floor, that song? The Drowning Pool.
Oh yeah, Drowning Pool.
Yeah. He took that song and made it a kid's song. It's like ding 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 ding, and the whole video is just kids dancing and let the bodies hit the floor. I mean, it's hilarious.
Nice.
Check it out.
I like that. That's creative, right? It's taking, or when someone takes a country song and they make it a, I don't know, jazz song. I'm sure that's never happened, but I haven't heard of it.
That'd be interesting for sure.
Yeah, it's cool. It's because it shows creativity, right? And it's I don't like when artists take a song and they do a cover of a song and they try to make it sound identical.
Exactly the same, yeah.
Because once again, it's like the AC/DC analogy. What's the point in doing that?
Yeah. Why do I need to listen to you play it when I can just hear the real one?
Exactly. Yeah. So that's I mean, part and parcel with what I said earlier is that's what we're trying to bring something, right? We're trying to bring something to the music scene internationally that hasn't been there before.
Yeah.
So
that's killer there. I love that. Keep it up.
Thanks, man.
And that snare, I need to figure out what his secret is to that snare, because it was in that song too. It was just, maybe it's on the whole thing. Maybe I should pay attention before, but yeah.
Reach out to Brendan, Scott. Reach out to him because he'd love that if you're following it.
Yeah, some tips, some drum. Even though I don't really. I mean, my drum set sits over there in the torn down right now. But I've been doing a lot of the guitar and singing and stuff on the stuff that we're doing now. So I don't really do drums. We were gonna track drums on Dream, but it just didn't. We don't have the capability to DIY the setup, to mic everything and make it sound. There's no echoes in the room. We just, we're just a little production. But it still sounds good. It's digital drums, on the computer. But it's playable. I mean, anybody could play it.
Awesome.
But we need a drummer and a bass player. So if you know anybody in West Virginia,
yeah,
I'll come to Thunder Bay. Damn it, I'll come to Thunder Bay to record. I don't care.
There you go. It's worth it. We got a good producer.
Thunder Sound is the first place you went and recorded. Are they still?
No, they're not the first, but this is our home. Right, it's our home. Right. So we've recorded with other people, but I mean we're incredibly happy with what we get with Russ, and he's like the fifth member of the band, right? So it's not like
he knows what it should sound like.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, and he's just as important, if not more important, than the musicians in the group, right? Like his form of art is the mixing, mastering, you know, getting everything just dialed in just right. You know, he's yeah, and without him, like especially through the pandemic, like I don't know, it's we're very fortunate to have him, and I can't say that enough. I say it in every interview we do, you know, but it's true, right? It's we're very lucky, and it's like a 2-minute drive from my house
That's
to get to the
awesome. Yeah.
studio. So it's amazing, right?
If
So
you hear something that needs to be, you know, tweaked a
yeah,
little bit, you can go, yeah.
yeah.
Well, tell the folks what you got coming up. We know about the Tears for Fears song coming out on the 28th. You mentioned the show about with the Fixer on the same evening, I guess.
Yep.
What else do you guys have coming up that we can look forward to?
Yeah. So aside from that, we're planning on doing another kind of a big press run after the Mad World single drops, and we do this show, having more conversations like this, obviously, and then we have a new single, original Ultimatum single, coming out on probably early June is when we're shooting for, as kind of like a fast follow to the Mad World cover, and then we're going to be releasing the X project, we're calling it, but it's the 10-year anniversary of We Are. We picked the 4 song, like our first album, we picked the 4 songs that we wanted to redo that on that. And that's probably going to be October-ish, we're thinking. I don't know. But we need to release that this year for it to be symbolic. And then the next single we're releasing, we're probably going to put it on another EP somewhere later in the year, where there's like going to be maybe 3-4 dancier songs to accompany the single that's going to follow Mad World. So we kind of have it all time, you know, referenced out. We want to play a lot more shows this year too, just because of the lack of, you know, the drought of playing shows. So
Yeah.
But yeah, aside from that, lots of new music to come, a lot of different live performances coming, and a lot of different, you know, interviews and you know, press that we're going to be doing in support of all the things that, you know, not just the shows, but more importantly, I think the new music that we have coming out. So
Sure.
I'm really excited to hear, and we're, you know, Instagram's probably the best way to get in contact with us, but I'm really, really excited to hear about what people think of Mad World when it's fully released and people have time to actually sit on it and hear it a few times. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah,
So,
I kind of want to listen to it again in you know, with my headphones, just to kind of hear some other parts, you know.
yeah.
There's
And that's
always
the beautiful part about it. It's like all the little subtle nuances that and that's the way our producer mixes, is for our music to thrive in like a headphone environment, car, big,
Yeah.
nice speaker system,
you
right?
can
So
hear every little part,
Yeah.
every little detail.
and all the space that he puts in the music. So yeah.
Come to the States, close to West Virginia or in West Virginia. There's several great, fantastic, legendary venues around here. There's a lot of good places to play. Do a tour if you want to do a tour in the region. You know, I know of, I don't really have any pull in places, but you know, I know of places that would love to have you.
Awesome.
You know, and have you know, support bands to open for you, things like that.
Awesome.
You know,
Amazing.
it'd be great to meet you in person. I need to come to Thunder Bay. It sounds like it sounds like a fascinating place. It really does.
Yeah. Hopefully I hyped it up.
I will Google Earth it some more and just kind of
Yeah.
look around. I kind of glanced at it one day. I like to do that. You know, just to see what I can ask. That's like the Santa Claus thing with the guy in Finland. You know, the town was called Santa Claus, and it's crazy.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's awesome.
So I like to do that, but it was very nice chatting with you and talking all things Ultimatum, and premiering the new Ultimatum.
Absolutely.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
That's April the 28th, and you also have a show. Yeah, talk to the Fixer, talk to Railgun. Railgun's gonna lead us out tonight. I figured why not put another Thunder Bay?
Love
band?
it.
Let's get Thunder Bay on the East Coast map or something. I don't know, something like that. I always you know what I forgot to do? I always forget this because it's new.
Oh, nice.
I always forget it.
Oh, that's cool.
I'll leave it on till we quit. But no,
Awesome.
I have a ritual that I've done since I started this show where I changed this marquee. This is actually the second one I've had. The other one's been destroyed over the times. It's like a weatherman. Everything's backwards. But there's Ultimatum. I'm going to change this to Syndria. Syndria is tomorrow. They were from Sacramento. That show will be at 7 p.m. It'd be episode 191. You guys were 190. Thank you so much for being
Amazing.
190. It's awesome. I still don't know what I'm doing for the 200th yet. I'm still in planning. I know what I did for the 100th, and this has got to be more than that. I got to one up it for every 100, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Every 50 or something. And then the 3-year show will be at the end of June. I might just get drunk for that one. I don't know. But yeah, once again, thank you so much for being on. It was fantastic talking to you. Here's Railgun with Sinner in Silence. Sinner in Silence. Maybe they'll be on soon.
Yeah, I'll let them know.
I'll hit them up. I'll hit up the fixer too. I wanted to wait until I talked to you first to make sure it was safe to do so. No.
Of course. Yeah, they would. Yeah, they would be great guests for sure. And we appreciate it, Scott, on behalf of myself and you.
Come back again. Come back
Will
again.
do.
Bring
Yeah,
the guys
we
with
love
you,
that.
and we'll talk more about Thunder Bay's wiener situation because we need.
Yeah, they offer a different perspective than I did, I'm sure. So yeah. Okay, brother.
Awesome,
Thank
man.
you.
Thank you so much. Here is Railgun with Sinner in Silence. I will be back tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern with Sindria from Sacramento. Have a great Sunday. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.